is up, guys? We got to do it.
Listen, folks, I know there's a history here. I'd like to get this hearing in today. You know, everybody needs to just focus on the relevant facts, okay? I know there's a history here.
Fuck yeah, there's a history.
Are you talking up by Sunset Mart? Up the hill by the gas station?
Yeah.
Okay. Why did you?
This shit's fucking on fire tonight. It's pretty fucking good. Welcome.
All right. Who's responsible here? Who's responsible here? Whose house is this? Yeah. Been drinking or anything, right?
No.
Okay. Drive careful, okay?
Will do, thank you.
Well, mainstream media is not responsible here. How much to that?
This is what the other group had that ran away.
Oh, really? It just ditched it? Awesome.
Yeah, those ones kept walking to the car. And the other one.
It's truly for the win.
For the win! Truly's. Sponsored in part by Truly. This is going to blow people's minds. And Taylor, this one's for you, girl.
I was given to. So there was 2 different discs. Okay.
Good.
They all knew about it.
We're not here to talk about the alcohol stuff, okay?
Yeah, we are.
But this is the second noise complaint we've had here tonight within 2 hours.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Is this your place?
Yeah.
Perfect. You know why we're here?
I see noise.
Noise, yeah.
Yeah.
Big speaker right there.
Yeah.
Nothing against having a party. Once neighbors start calling in, then we have an issue.
All right.
Like brains, and like if you need a lot of brains, you're gonna be in trouble, bitch.
Good evening. Today's a Monday. We're going to act like a Friday. So good evening. Really quick. Here we go. We're going to start just right off the rip. Right off the rip, we're going to just... So here it is. I have Bethany's crash report. So I want to get this out of the way. And I want to make it known that Bethany did not have her vehicle on the night of the murders. That bitch was 100%, meaning that bitch, not her, but that vehicle was 100% not even in the state of Idaho. Promise. Here you go. Bethany was in a crash on October 7th, 2022. Her vehicle was totaled out. I got this straight from the police traffic collision report from the state of Washington. So let's go share screen. Sup, bitch. All right. All right. Now, there are so many things that you need to pay attention to, because this is going to get wild as fuck. Ready? First thing I want you to pay attention to is the way that they did this is I got 6 I got 6 different reports, but we're going to start with a diagram because I think everybody does good with diagrams. So they gave me the diagram of the report here. Okay. So here's the report in diagram. I think everybody likes to be visually blown. So, all right. In unit number 1 is a girl by the name of Rose. In unit number 2 is Bethany. And then in unit number 3 is, well, what I've determined to be Amy and Jennifer, sisters. One lives in Moscow, one lives in Washington. And they had a minor child in the car. Okay. So, car. Unit 1, unit 2, unit 3. So Bethany's unit 2. Then you would take the report, and this is the narrative of the report. Unit 1, 2, and 3 were all traveling northbound, State Route 195 near milepost 6563. Unit 1 was traveling behind Unit 3. When Unit 1 struck the rear of Unit 3, Unit 2 then struck the rear of Unit 1 after Unit 1 had struck the rear of Unit 3. One would call this like a mini pileup. Okay. So again, they're all traveling 3 cars like this. Okay. It's a single so it's like there's a northbound and then southbound. It's not multiple lanes, it's 1 and 1. Car. Then you look at your diagram and you will then see what cars are which. The light one, the dark one, unit 2 here. So then what they taught us to do in school was this is unit 1, this is unit 2, and this is unit 3. Okay. So 3, 1, 2. Okay. Now I'm going to zoom in. Look at how cool this is. The key also gives us debris, area of impacts, and tire friction marks. So Bethany is the last vehicle. All right. So 1 hits 3, and then 2 hits 1. Okay. Here you can see. Ooh. Okay. Areas of impact then. They have their little stars there. You can see them when you zoom in. But anyways, now the report would go on to tell us that the Subaru, who was Rose's vehicle, was towed. Bethany's was towed. That's the RAV. What'd you think I RAV for? To push a fucking RAV for. Both of them were cited with the charge was follow vehicle too closely. I think we're good with showing this. I wanted to make sure everything was redacted that I wanted out of there. That's not going to work. Where's my black one? Okay, that's good enough. So when I first was doing this, I thought that there was only 2 vehicles. Well, there was 3 vehicles. And when I was making my request, I realized that I was getting pushback. I was like, what the fuck's going on here? Why am I getting pushback on like I want to know who the fuck's in these vehicles. I was able to get the names of everybody in the vehicle. I will not be revealing that though. But what I will be revealing is that one of them is a business manager, University of Idaho, college research administrator before that, and then a personnel specialist. So from 1998 to 2022, they were, for 24 years, they were a personnel specialist. Okay. Then they became a University of Idaho College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, June 22 to December 24, and then business manager 2. Okay. Then the other one is a vice principal at, wasn't Steve Gonsalves talking about Lewis and Clark? Well, here's another connection to Lewis and Clark. Vice principal at Lewis and Clark High School. Huh. Can you believe that? Wow. Then if that wasn't fucking crazy enough. So every vehicle is basically towed. And then I was getting blowback on that I wanted certain information. And here it is. Now this is normal, is driver's license. I don't want anybody's driver's license, so go ahead. Who gives a fuck? But here, this is what was interesting to me, is one of the people, the beautiful people, somebody did this, and they said that the identity of the complainant, so whoever filed the complaint, the complainant, the withheld information would reveal the identity of the complainant who reported a crime. Who reported a crime? And, you know, where I'm from, the word accident, I just don't think of the word crime coming with accident. You know what I mean? You just got in an accident. But I get that you're at fault in terms of like somebody caused the fucking accident, but it's an accident. You know, crime, you know. So who reported a crime? Based on the circumstances at issue in this investigation, complainant fears for the safety of herself and her son. The agency believes that disclosure would endanger the complainant's life, physical safety, or property. Excuse me? That means that somebody put that they were in fear for their life, their property, or public safety. If the complainant's name, what, like, wow, like this is just like supposed to be like a fender bender, like, whoa, right? Wow. Well, then I saw that there was a witness. Yeah, like there was a witness to this. Okay. Can I get a witness? And I said, by God, who is this? What is this? So Amy, again, I believe there's two sisters there. Amy lives in Moscow. Her sister lives, I believe, in, I don't know, Clarkson. Who knows? Whatever. But there was a witness to this. And I was like, who's this witness? Who the fuck is Carson Hammer? Like, what the fuck? I was like, Carson Hammer. I was like, wait, there's a witness. Like, why is this so secretive? There's a fucking witness. Like, what the fuck? You know, like, just come on now. So I was like, all right, Lana, who the fuck is Carson Hammer? You know, that there's a witness. Somebody witnessed this crash. Somebody was like, I'm going to like Stick around to be a witness. Come on. Well, fucking A. Ready for this? Checked off witness, not passenger, but witness. Carson Hammer. Well, of course, you know me. I got to dig and find out who the fuck Carson Hammer is. I was like, Jesus, who the fuck's Carson Hammer? I'm like, that's interesting. So I said, hot damn, will you be damned? Couple of College Hill animal cruelty case pleads guilty. Ready? November 1st, 2022. On Friday, a Pullman couple who was charged with multiple counts of animal cruelty pleaded guilty in front of Judge Gary Libby of Whitman County Superior Court. The pair, 20-year-old Sydney Weston and 22-year-old Carson Hammer, pled guilty to 3 counts of felony first-degree animal cruelty, according to the Pullman Radio. In March, which would be of 2022, the investigation into the two, which was 300 hours, it took them 300 hours to do this investigation into this case right here that we're about to talk about. In March of 2022, the investigation into the two began as the police found the following dead animals: 1 dog, 4 sugar gliders, 3 ferrets, 1 rat, 1 mouse, and 1 bearded dragon, 1 gecko, and 1 ball python, as well as 9 animals who were still alive, half cats and half dogs, allegedly, supposedly, according to a Pullman Police Department press release. The 9 surviving animals were brought to Whitman County Humane Society in Pullman and all made full recoveries, according to the Pullman Radio. The animals were allegedly, now this later would be corrected, but allegedly were brought to the apartment from Weston's place of work, which, can you believe it? Ready? Weston's place of work, Washington State University Veterinarian Teaching Hospital, according to the Pullman Radio. VTH officials confirmed to Pullman Radio that Weston was actually, in fact, employed as a service worker last year from April to August. April to August. That's a really quick, like, out, girl, you nuts. Again, so Weston was employed as a service worker last year from April to August, which has been 2022, but found no evidence that Weston took any animals from the hospital. Now, somebody would be quoted, again, these people suck at writing, in quotes, she's trying to help animals that are high risk animals. It's not just taking in entirely healthy animals. There are animals coming from the vet hospital, end quote. Who the fuck would write that shit, right? Like, defense attorney Roger Sandberger said in court. So Sandberger, her attorney, is basically saying that the animals came from the vet, right? Well, after she pled and he pled guilty, which we're about to get into, then it was corrected, and none of these animals came from the vet, and in fact, they all came from her parents' house. Gets better. Now, Weston was the primary caregiver of all the animals, who was set to be sentenced on December 9th. The reason that she was sentenced on December 9th and not at the same time as the male, Mr. Hammer, was because she had to undergo a mental evaluation. But as far as Hammer, in his testimony, he said that he had never intended to kill the animals, and rather, he was fascinated by them. None of this was intentional. I did love all of these animals dearly. I found them all fascinating, Hammer said. You know, I was always told that people start killing animals first and then they start trying to kill humans. That's what I was always taught, growing up, that be careful of those fucking animal killers. They will start killing people. Despite there being 13 dead animals and 9 more hurt, only 3 charges were pleaded guilty, as the Whitman County Prosecutor's Office dropped further charges in exchange for the pleas. Ready for this? Guess how much time they did? The male, he did 1 month in jail. 1 month in jail, and then I don't know, a year or two of probation. And homegirl, which she appeared via Zoom, so I got her. This is her. This is her for her Zoom appearance. 20-year-old woman found living with dead animals in her shared Pullman apartment, sentenced for animal cruelty. Look at the date. December 12th, 2022. Look at that. Just, so this is just a picture of her. That's Sydney Weston. Okay. Now you're like, Lana, why does this matter? Well, her boyfriend was the witness to this whole bang, bang, bang. And I'm like, wait a second. When was he arrested? What's going on here? So you're telling me that he was a witness to a October 7th bang, bang, and that he ended up getting sentenced October, I believe it could potentially be 28th. But because when he actually went and, I don't know, began his sentence is unknown, and it was for a month. Who even knows if he fucking did any time? But she was not sentenced until December 9th. Again, can we trust all this reporting? I don't know if we can. But bottom line is that this Hammer dude, okay, is the witness to this 3-car accident. And one of the people in the 3-car accident where it's like, I cannot have my name or my son's name because I'm reporting a crime. Like, I'm in fear for my life. I'm in fear for my son's life. We cannot have our names out there. I'm reporting a crime. And I'm like, dude, you just got in a little fender bender. What the fuck? Anyways, the one woman is a vice principal. The other woman, who's a sister of her, is administration at the University of Idaho. And then you have a bunch of sorority chicks. And this was, so then I looked into the fact that, okay, where did Hammer live and his little girlfriend? And what are the odds that Hammer, who lives in Pullman with his girlfriend, right? And they're about to be sentenced to, I don't know, fucking doing jail time, motherfuckers, like, whoop, that they get the fuck out of doing any time whatsoever. She doesn't do any jail time. She does 2 years in a mental facility, allegedly, supposedly, who the fuck knows. But he does 1 month, and that was it. And then he got probation. And they dropped the other charges. They put 300 hours into this case. 300 hours is a lot of time. 300 hours. Let me tell you how many hours they put into Karen Reed murder case. Not 300 before they arrested her ass. I think it was maybe a couple. But guys, it's where this accident happened. What are the odds that Bethany is in a car with 2 sorority chicks that do not go to the University of Idaho? They actually go to the University of Washington. And that she would be in a fender bender with not 1 car, but 2 cars because they're following too close to each other. One of them, I don't know, slams on the brake, causing the 1 car to hit into that car and then the back car to hit into that car, you know, that type of shit. And then this happens an hour away from everybody, where everybody lives. In this, what, Rosalia, whatever the fuck it is, Washington. It's an hour away, 45 minutes from Pullman, almost an hour. It's like an hour and 4 minutes from the 1122 King Road house. And this happens at between 2 and 3:15 on a Friday. So we have a vice principal in the car with her son. The the sister of the vice principal who works at the University of Idaho. And then 2 cars. And I thought to myself, what the fuck vehicle was Hammer in? Was he in as a witness? Was he just a witness because, like, where does this kid just fucking pop out of nowhere? Anyways, I don't know what the fuck they were doing with these animals. Were they testing drugs out on these animals to see what the fuck would happen? Were they fucking the animals? I mean, I don't know. Who the hell lives in an apartment in Pullman with 13 dead animals? What the fuck? And then why are you letting these people out? Is there a picture of Hammer? No, you guys can go search for him. I'm not showing that. I can't do all the work here. Anyways, I thought it was interesting that homegirl right here is talking about a crime. I want to know what this crime is. I want to know what you're scared of. This is a fucking car accident. I would never think that I am the complainant and I'm making a report and I'm reporting a crime. Was it like a hit and run? Did somebody try to like run from the scene? So please explain to me what that would be. What about the knife sheath though? Hi, Emily. Hi. Haven't seen you ever here. So want to handle that first. Guess Emily wasn't here for the beginning to say, hey, we're going to just knock this out really quick. So anybody out there sending me shit that I know that Bethany had her vehicle on that day. You fucking lie. Do not send me your goddamn emails because I will put them out on the fucking internet. What the fuck aren't you getting? I'm over here providing receipts and people want to fucking email me and say, I know that Bethany had her fucking car on November 12th. Well, guess what? You don't. Take your fucking email and shove it up your fucking ass, you fucking troll. It's free. Go put a YouTube channel out there and blast your shit. Okay. Woo! Here's Bethany in her car. That fucking car was totaled out. Bethany didn't have that fucking car. Piss up a river. Next. Fucking idiots. Now for the main event. This is amazing if you are a fan of evidence. I got my hands on this is a 2025 UC Davis, by the way, is known for a lot of their forensic work. And this is the lab manager at UC Davis. And what he did is he did his thesis, and it just came out here. And it was peer reviewed by the people that are actually in charge of him. Right there. Peer reviewed, peer reviewed, peer reviewed. His thesis was on none other than the Idaho4 murder case. And they used the lab to do a fucking sick ass experiment. I'm going to use it for an experiment. But this experiment, oh, holy balls. Let's talk about what this experiment was for. This study investigates DNA transfer pathways using standardized models such as DFPs and DOM hands, which you're going to find out what that means, to simulate real-life scenarios and incorporates wild fingerprints to observe how they behave in real-world conditions. 2 crime scenarios were done. Number 1, the Idaho murder case. And then number 2, it was the subway pull to drug baggie mock case. In all our pathways, we were interested on studying the transfer of male DNA from one surface to another under primary, which is direct, and secondary indirect transfer. Basically, it was what was found on the sheath, the DNA. Is it primary or is it secondary? Well, this was 112 pages. And it's fucking amazing. I'm going to skip all your boring parts because I know you guys are just eager beavers, okay? And we're going to get to the setup here. This is sick. Ready. Figure 1 is, I'm going to make it as big as possible here. All right. Figure 1 is the preparation of the mock skins. So the laboratory set up to produce, they had a different type of mock skin. And this is just them basically saying, this is what we did. And so your methodology. Boom. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger here too. Oopsies. I could sit here and say, hey guys, this is how they did it, and blah, 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 blah. But all we have to know is that, do the methodologies check out? Are they marking down exactly how they did something? Are they doing it to the standard of the lab? That's what they cover in the first. I mean, this is page 35. I can break it all down and show you that how they talk about. I mean, this is fucking actually amazing, and it will be read. But for the purposes of what this video is for, it's to introduce this to everybody. So there was 3 potential mock skins were assessed by, based on their ease of use and effectiveness and simulating various transfer pathway scenarios. The most suitable mock skin from the 3 candidates was selected for our downstream analysis. So these are the skins. All right. The 3 candidate mock skins fabricated on the glove to create domesticated hands. Okay. Hold on, let me turn this down just a little bit. Oopsies. There you go. So A through C, and then D through F was the fabricated domesticated hands. All right. Now, transfer pathway scenarios. The study simulated 2 mock transfer pathway scenarios. The first one was inspired in a recent case in Moscow, Idaho, wherein 4 college students were fatally stabbed in an off-campus residence. The DNA of the suspect, Brian Culver, was found on a snap button of a knife sheath. The other one, an indirect transfer of DNA from an aluminum subway pole to drug baggie, right? So obviously, we're only concerned about this, the case, the Idaho4 case. I'm not even going to talk about the other case. So, so here we go. All right. Both domesticated hand and mock hand were prepared using Larisha leather as the mock skin. The placement of the mock skin was considered carefully to ensure contact between surfaces. All surfaces involved in the transfer pathway scenarios were swabbed using a sterile cotton swab. And so that's what he went through in the beginning of the paperwork is how you would have to do all of this shit. So he went through like all the ways that, you know, which are acceptable and blah, blah. The guy that did this is the goddamn lab manager. It's the lab manager at UC Davis. All right. So, scenario 1. Now, for purposes of this, which he would get feedback on, because at the time until it was made known by a couple of the motions where the swabbing took place. But what he did is, as you can see, that's where the placement was for as far as transfer to test all of this. Okay. And primary pathway transfer scenario between domesticated hand and snap button using mock fingerprint. A, 20 microliters of domesticated fingerprint containing 9.0 ng. The reason this is important is I want you guys to think about, I went and got it so you guys didn't have to do any searching, all right? We were part of and have been listening to this is what was found on the sheath. 0.168 NGs, okay? 0.168 NGs. So write that down or keep that in your brain. Now what they did is he put 9.0 NGs on the finger when he was conducting this. This is just 9.0 of male DNA was deposited on the domesticated hand. Domesticated hand touched the snap button to complete the primary pathway. This was replicated at 20 times and at 10 seconds each separate time to do these experiment. Okay. So that was the first one. So that's the direct contact. Okay. 9.0 was put on the thumb and then it pressed down on the button part of the sheath, and it was for 10 seconds, then took off, then did the swabbing, and then did it again. So as you can see right here, it says he did it. This was replicated for 20 times. Then the second pathway, male only, domesticated hand to the mock hand, and then to the button snap, which would be if I was to shake your hand, okay? And you're going to see, this is what they did. Showed. So hand-to-hand handshake. You see that? So see how a human handshake, so right there, how it would touch another person, right? And then button sheath like that. So that's what you would consider secondary. So primary, and now this is secondary. Okay. Secondary pathway transfer scenario between domesticated hand, mock hand, and the snap button using mock fingerprint. A, 20 microliters of domesticated fingerprint containing 9.0 ng of DNA was deposited on the domesticated hand. B, a mock hand. C, the handshake between the domesticated hand and the mock hand to transfer the DNA. And then D, then you would transfer it. Okay, so he's describing each thing that you see here. The placement of the mock skin on both domesticated and mock hands were placed on area of contact during shaking of hands. This was replicated for 20 times. Okay. You see how it says A1, the last one was 1.1, then it was 1.2, now this is 1.3. Then they did, which I thought was fucking tits, all right? Then they included a female in the equation. A1.3 secondary pathway, male and female DNA, dom hand, mock hand to the snap button. Same protocol was used in this pathway as A1.2 secondary pathway, with the exception of depositing 9.0 ng female DNA onto the mock hand. So, boom, 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 boom. Okay. And then it just outlines each one of like what A is, B is, C is, D is, okay? Next. Wild fingerprint. The wild fingerprint was also used to observe the behavior of the transfer pathway in real life scenarios. Wild fingerprints were deposited by participants who were involved in these two pathways with their informed consent under the approval of the Institutional Review Board at the University of California, Davis. Approved on February 14th, 2024. All snap buttons were decontaminated to assure no exogenous DNA was present in the surface. These transfer pathways were replicated 20 times. Dude, that's some fucking sick ass smart shit. Okay? Okay. Now, A, 2.1 primary pathways, wild fingerprints onto snap button. Ready? Oh my God, you guys. Fuck, do you know what I'm showing you right now? Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. A participant was instructed to avoid washing the hands for a period of 30 minutes and proceed with regular activities as usual. Only the thumb, index, and middle fingers were used to deposit wild fingerprints by touching the snap button for 10 seconds with moderate pressure. Figure 6. Then DNA was collected on the snap button. A 2.2. Secondary pathway, male and female handshake, female touching the snap button. A total of participants composed of 3 males and 3 females were asked to simulate pathway scenarios. All participants were asked to refrain from washing their hands for 30 minutes and proceed with their regular activities as usual. A male participant was asked to shake hands with a female participant for 10 seconds. Immediately after the handshake, the female participant touched the snap button for 10 seconds with moderate pressure to complete the transfer of DNA. Then DNA was collected on the male hand, female hand, and the snap button. The transfer of DNA in secondary pathway using wild fingerprints were calculated using the following formula. Male DNA transferred to female hand, female DNA transferred to male hand, male DNA transferred to snap button, and then female DNA transferred to snap button. Where TY quantity of target of Y chromosome region, TS. So, all right, then 46. Now, A, B, C, D, E. Ready? Secondary pathway transfer scenarios between male hand, female hand, and snap button using wild fingerprints. A is a male and female handshake. B is a female hand. Touch the snap button immediately after the handshake. C, visible wild fingerprint on the button, the snap button. D, the DNA collection on the male hand. And E, DNA collection on the female hand. Both female and male hands were swabbed on the area of contact during handshake. This was replicated for 20 times. Now, this is getting into scenario 2. So what we're going to do is we're just going to, skip, because like I told you, I'm not discussing that. But okay, here we go. All right, this is all your math. So anybody that's paying attention, you can go ahead and just take a screenshot there. And here. And what he used was the all transfer pathway scenarios and DNA retention experiments were quantified using quantifier TM Trio DNA quantification kit. So it's what they use. So I'll break this down in a different time, but for the purposes of this live, ready? Chapter results and discussions. There are currently many specialized methods for extracting pure DNA, RNA, or protein, typically categorized into solution-based or column-based protocols. These methods have largely been developed into commercial kits that simplify the process of biomolecular extraction. In this study, DNA IQ isolation system for use with STR analysis, this is what he used, okay, was used as the sole method for DNA extraction for this experiment. It uses a magnetic resin with, I can read all of this, but we qualified the extraction loss of DNA IQ following the method of, and so these are things that were actually listed in this fucking motion to suppress and shit like that. Okay, because we're going to get into Nolan and her bullshit. All right. So we're going to go right to here. Okay. The results. The results indicate consistent DNA recovery efficiency across different cell concentrations with approximately 49% of the DNA lost during extraction. So right off the rip, you're going to lose 49% of the DNA due to extraction. The standard curve with a high R squared value of 0.998 confirms a strong linear relationship between the DNA deposited and recovered, suggesting the consistency of the results. So see figure 15, which we're going to get to. This also conforms with the results, and I'm not even going to say that name, 2021 average percentage of DNA loss. So, however, the slope of 0.4935 indicates that only half of the deposited DNA is recovered, pointing to inefficiencies in the process, probably caused by incomplete DNA binding or losses during washing and elution. In comparing, and then you can see Tang again, that was cited in this motion to suppress. Okay. So when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, they're using the same, like Becca Barlow's all over. She's about to fucking crush them in this shit. Tang in 2020 reported a 33% DNA loss using the organic extraction method, which is lower than the loss observed with the DNAIQ system. So there's different ways to extract. This is the way that they did it, that he did it. All right. And here we go. So the 49% DNA loss from the extraction process will be incorporated into the bullpen of events and will be used to adjust the calculations for the transfer pathway values. All right, so table 2 is, here's your mean DNA recovery, loss, and percentage loss from the various cell quantities deposited. So this is just talking about your DNA loss in the samples. Okay, average is 49, and that's actually, as he's saying, better. Then he's going to talk about the type of skins that were used here. And then we get to, this is for the breakdown. This is all for his thesis, so he has to like break down all of comparison of the mock skin material used for domesticated hands. So here was the criteria. All right, and then this is each option, and then the lead time, how, 10 days, 3 days, not required. Surface, smooth, but has cracks. So it's just outlining everything more for his thesis. Then this is the surface retention. Various surfaces were used to simulate transfer pathway scenarios. Any new surfaces, i.e., that was where you got the leather, the button snap, the subway pole, not organically found at the bullpen of events, should have their own percentage DNA retention quantified for adjustment calculations. So he goes through all of this fucking bullshit, all right? I guess you can either read it or you can just trust me. And you want to look here, and it's 8% DNA retention, 11%, 15%. So the button snap, 11%. 74% is lost. And this is normal shit. These are normal numbers. Based on the results for the subway pull, which I said, again, we're going to go away from that, and we're going to talk about here, which is, on the other hand, the snap button of the knife sheath is made of brass material, but it's covered with a glossy material that also has impacts to DNA retention after you deposit it. So the coating of the surfaces can affect the retention of DNA since it's the outermost layer of the surface. Based on the results, it has an 11% DNA retention. So basically, you have an 11% chance of fucking landing some DNA there. 11% chance. Okay? Now, these are all pretty much the same with your 49, 49. When you use this for the mock skin, it was only 8%. So let's go to, okay. A higher percent DNA retention indicates that a large portion of the deposit DNA is either lost during swabbing or remains on the surface after collection. This suggests that while DNA might initially adhere to the surface, the collection process is not effectively capturing it. Now, the pores, so what type of surface we're dealing with of the surface can directly impact the effectiveness of the DNA collection. You have non-porous surfaces and you have porous surfaces. That button snap is non-porous, and it talks about it. So right here, on the other hand, while porous surfaces might seem they have their advantages due to their higher DNA retention, the practical difficulties of extracting DNA from those surfaces can result in lower overall recovery rates. Forensic practitioners must consider these factors when choosing surfaces. For evidence collection, and may need to adjust their techniques based on the propensity of the surfaces that they are dealing with. Now, transfer pathways. This is the whole big thing. One effective strategy to enhance accuracy and reliability of forensic evidence is through the standardization of fingerprints in human hands used in experimental and analysis procedures, standardizing. So it's talking about everything that you need to fucking do, your fundamentals. Okay. Scenario 1, the Idaho murders. So your results are as follows. A1.1. Pathway A1.1 simulated a direct contact with a snap button using a domesticated hand, which was back in figure 4. And it started with 9.0 ng of DNA on the domesticated ham. Results revealed that 1.09 ng of DNA remained on the hand. Okay. So it starts with 9. Okay. Starts with 9. The results revealed that 1.09 ngs of DNA remained on the hand and 0.60 ng was transferred to the snap button. To account for key fail points, losses due to extraction, swab retention, and surface retention were all factored in. Specifically, 49% of DNA was lost during extraction, 25% was retained on the swab, and additional surface retention was considered. This resulted in total DNA losses of 81% on the domesticated hand and 85% on the snap button. Consequently, DNA recoveries were 19% from the hand, whoopsies, and 15% from the button. The recovered DNA amounts were adjusted based on these recovery percentages. The recovered DNA on the domesticated hand accounted for 5.73 ng of DNA, while 0.60 ng on the snap accounted for 4.0 ng DNA, for a total of 9.73 or 108%. And they account for that 10% either way, so it falls within the margin of error. Okay, because you're calculating how much we originally started with, right? And then some was found on the snap, some remained on the hand. When you add those together, is it still, what's our total that we have? I'm trying to break this down as much as layman as I can. Okay, so a margin of error, like I just said, was allowed to account for the deviations in each component. This is a direct transfer. So this is a human hand that just touches straight up on the button sheet. Like, hey, I'm the owner of it. I just go ahead and I touch it. So the direct transfer from the hand to the snap button showed that 41% of the DNA initially on the hand was successfully transferred. 41% was successfully transferred because it was direct. The results suggest a significant transfer of DNA, motherfuckers, from the domesticated hand to the snap, with 41% of the DNA initially deposited on the hand, ending up on the button snap. This transfer highlights the efficiency with which DNA can move between surfaces, especially in scenarios involving direct contact. The fact that 59% of the total DNA was retained on the domesticated hand while 41% was transferred to the button snap underscores the importance of surface interactions in forensic DNA analysis. Surfaces like the domesticated hand, designed to simulate human skin, may readily transfer DNA to objects they come in contact with, such as the snap button. Now, please take a look at our figure, Table 5. Statistical parameters of DNA recovery in domesticated hand and snap after this is primary. Okay. Where is... That's what they recovered on Idaho4 snap, just so we know. All right. 0.02 between that and 1.94. Okay. What was found on it is 0.168. Is that right? Ready? So would this fall in the lower part or the higher part of this primary pathway, right? Now, $1.09. So it's just showing what I just said. And then it's doing everything I just said. It just calculates it like that. And then here. Now let's talk about the indirect. So when the jury gets to hear about because I want to know this. If I'm on the jury, like, fuck, man. Talk about this motherfucking DNA. Let's talk about how much there truly is on this snap. Let's talk about, is it indirect? Is it direct? Can you truly decipher between the two? And would you believe it? In pathway A.1.2, which represents an indirect pathway, this was the second experiment. A secondary DNA transfer was simulated through a handshake using a mock hand, right? The same amount of DNA, 9.0, was initially deposited on the domesticated hand. After a handshake with the domesticated mock hand, 1.149 ng of DNA was recovered from the hand, and 0.26 ng was recovered from the mock hand, reflecting a 36% transfer percentage during the handshake. Following this, the mock hand transferred 0.197 ng. $0.197. Look at this. 0.68, motherfucker. Woo! Hell's bells. What does that say, Lana? Are you fucking kidding me, girl? What you just showed us? Oh my God. What I just showed y'all is holy shit. If that ain't some motherfucking indirect transfer, secondary, you call it whatever the hell you want. Literally, this was just done. And I was just like, holy shit. I was like, that number is literally almost like fucking identical to this shit. Don't believe me, though. Let's continue. I just hunt them down, vet them out, sniff them out. Straight up out of UC Davis. This was just done as a thesis in a 2025 report that was peer-reviewed by 3 people within and that are in charge of that man's lab. So it's just somebody that's in charge. I was like, wait, what are those numbers? So where were we? It's like, hot damn. It's like, wow. 0.16 falls dead nuts. I was like, damn. Oh, damn. The overall indirect transfer from the male hands to the snap button was 21%. The total DNA recovered after adjustment calculation summed up to 9.39. This pathway showed that it is possible to end up even without direct contact to the surface of interest. Are you fucking serious? Who did I dedicate this to? I'm just dedicating it to the truth. This pathway showed that it is possible to end up even without direct contact to the surface of an. I didn't fucking say it, god damn it, this motherfucking smart man. Who, by the way, give him props, give him credit. He wrote a magnificent 111 pages into 2 scenarios. There's more. The third sample is the and then you have the wild fingerprints. But I think we'll save those for another day. I don't want to overload you guys. Stimulation, you know what I mean? See you guys on the flip side, bitches. What? Lana, you're going to leave us like that? Hell yeah. Soak it up. This pathway showed that it is possible to do this, right? But the most amazing part about it is compare the numbers. This is what was on it for indirect contact, 0.197 ng. This is what was on the button snap, 0.168. Less. Indirect contact. Is that right? Make sure you come back, tell your friends. We'll end with a bang.
In trouble.
We could just do some shots together. We can just hang out, do some shots.
Listen, folks, I know there's a history here. I'd like to get this hearing in today. You know, everybody needs to just focus on the relevant facts, okay? I know there's a history here.
That's some crazy ass shit. Woo, woo, baby. Woo, baby. We're dancing, aren't we?
Are you talking up by Sunset Mart?
We're dancing.
Up the hill by the gas station?
Yeah.
Okay. Why did you?
It's just gonna be wild. It's just gonna be wild. Cash App. $10 for keep up the great research. Every great lawyer needs a great researcher.
Who's responsible here? Who's responsible here? Whose house is this?
Yeah, I've been drinking or anything, right?
No.
Okay, drive careful, okay?
Will do, thank you.
Is that right, Miss Taylor?
This is with the other group that ran away.
No,
Please
really?
give me your
You just
numbers.
ditched it? Awesome.
Come
Yeah, those ones
Awesome.
get lost in the car.
That's truly for the win.
fuck yeah for the win. I want the truth, god damn it. I want the truth. You attacked the only piece of evidence they have, and I want to know what's up with that piece of evidence. How the fuck did that DNA get there if he didn't put it there? Is it possible that it could have been transferred another way? And it's possible.
I was given to.
Highly
There
possible.
was 2 different discs. Okay? They all knew about it.
We're not here to talk about the alcohol stuff, okay?
Okay, yeah.
But this is the second noise complaint we've had here tonight within 2 hours.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Is this your place?
Yeah.
Perfect. You know why we're here?
I see noise.
Noise, yeah.
Yeah.
Big speaker right there.
Yeah.
Nothing against having a party. Once neighbors start calling in, then we have an issue.
Like brains, and like if you need a lot of brains, you're gonna be in trouble.